Good morning, everyone. Michelle here. I am stepping outside of my box today to do my very first vlog in which I am going to share books that I picked up at BEA that I am particularly interested in or excited for or thought you should be made aware of. I did pick up quite a bit, so I'm not going to tell you about every single thing. I created a Goodreads shelf with all my BEA 2011 books on it. So if you're interested in seeing everything I picked up, you can kind of hop over there and take a look at my list. But I did want to share with you some books that I am most excited to get to read right off the bat. So I'm going to categorize them a little bit vaguely because I have suspicions that some may cross into other categorizations. That will be determined once I read, but you'll know what those books are because I'll tell you. Anyway, I am going to start with dystopian fiction, or what I think is going to fall into dystopian fiction. If you were following any of the Twitter conversations a couple of weeks ago when we were at BEA, you probably did hear that there was quite a bit of dystopian on the floor this year. I picked up quite a bit myself. I'm a fan of dystopian, so for me that wasn't disappointing. There are those, I'm sure, who probably were a little bit disappointed because they are not huge fans of dystopian, and there was quite a bit. So to kick that all off, some of the dystopian reads that I picked up that I'm excited for are, first and foremost, Eve by Anna Carey. This is a book that was actually on my wish list before I even walked in the doors at BEA. It is a Harper Teen title. I was very fortunate to spend some time with them on Monday before BEA, and they gave this to me as part of that event, so thank you very much. It is about a girl who graduates from an all-girls school and discovers what really happens to new graduates. And she is fearful of what the fate is that awaits her, so she runs away. And when she runs away, she encounters a young man named Caleb who is living in the wild. And having been separated from men her whole life, she's been taught to fear them, but apparently Caleb kind of helps wash away that fear. So bit of a mystery, bit of a love story. So I'm really excited to take a look at this one. When I visited the Scholastic booth, I picked up this copy of The 11th Plague by Jeff Hirsch. Again, this is a book that was already on my wish list before I even walked in the door of BEA, and so I was pretty excited to get my hands on it. I don't know if any of you can really see what this book looks like. Let me give you a little closer view of it, but oops, sorry, there's a little bit of a glare from my laptop in there, but it has a very Tomorrow When the War Began vibe to it, at least from the visual perspective and the way it feels. And if anybody knows me well enough, they know that I'm a big fan of Marsden's Tomorrow series. So this immediately drew me to this book before I even knew what it was about because it had that vibe to it. But it is the story of a young boy named Stephen who was born after a large war, and he only knows the life of post-war apocalypse. And, you know, there's this plague that has wiped out a good portion of the population, and so he is trying to find a place to live where he can live more freely and more comfortably, and basically it's a story of survival. So again, looking really good, hoping it's a little bit like Tomorrow When the War Began. So thank you, Scholastic. Another Harper title that I picked up that I'm excited for is Variant, and this is by Robison Wells. And again, dystopian in nature. It's about a boy named Benson who is at a prep school. There's a prep school theme, it seems, in this vlog, but Maxfield Academy, and it kind of looks a little bit like I'm getting a Prison Break vibe from it, if you've ever watched the show Prison Break. But basically, he's trapped at this school and he can't get out, and it's very kind of big brothery, and so he is trying to navigate some big secret that the school has and to break free, and it's being said that it blends the action of Gone with the tension and suspense of The Maze Runner and Lord of the Flies. So yeah, excited about that. Looks really good. And then I was babbling about this book on Twitter before I left for BEA. It is the follow-up to The Adoration of Jenna Fox. It's called The Fox Inheritance by Mary E. Pearson. And I'm just going to show you because I'm super excited about the fact that it is personalized and signed to me. So I actually stood in line for this book. I am not a huge line stander, so I felt it was really important to get my hands on a copy of this, and I stood in line and met the very lovely Mary Pearson as a result. So really happy to have this. It is about 260 years after Jenna Fox, and they being, I'm assuming, the government or some scientific agency has given new bodies to Locke and Kara, who are the people that were part of the first book. So I am not going to say too much more in case you haven't read The Adoration of Jenna Fox. Read The Adoration of Jenna Fox. It was a fantastic book. There were a lot of parts to it that generate a lot of conversation, very thought-provoking. So I'm anticipating that this book will be equally thought-provoking and enjoyable. So that is a small smattering of the dystopian fare that I picked up. I did, as I said, pick up quite a bit more than that. So check out my Goodreads shelf and see what else I got from the dystopian.